everybody. One of my favorite people in the company is on with us this morning. The great Jeff Fieldstad, has come to help us this morning and work with us on how you present, how you close, how you recruit right at the kitchen table, and it's just so exciting to me to know that you always go back to fundamentals, you always go back to basics, and that it's a pretty simple business, not an easy business, but a simple business, and that's what makes it such a great business opportunity. Jeff is a young 26, 27-year-old, has 4 diamonds in his ring, has moved his business and a lot of his key people to Las Vegas, and just has had incredible growth since being in Las Vegas. So anytime you have any referrals or anything, that's a great place to send them to. But very excited. Jeff, go on ahead and let's work on the basics this morning.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Cheryl. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be on, and I'm so fired up about the system and what the company has come out with, and I just think it's so simple, so duplicatable, and powerful. It works. And so I'm going to go through this, and just like I would do on a kitchen table presentation if I was sitting down with a husband and wife, and I think a couple things that I do before I prelim an appointment. If I'm going to field train somebody and I'm going to sit down with a husband and wife, on the way there I'm just going to let the new recruit know that I just want them to listen to me more than anything. I want them to pay attention. I want them to take some notes, maybe record the presentation, but I don't want them to say anything unless the client asks them a question. I want them to answer it short. But if there's a silence or when I'm closing or whatever, I don't want them to talk. I want to be able to close. I don't want them to break the silence. And also, when we walk into the house, it's their job to get us to the kitchen table. So if there's something on the kitchen table, I want them to help me clear it off. I want them to tell the client, hey, let's go sit at your kitchen table. Make sure the husband and wife are both sitting down. Make sure we have their undivided attention. And so as I prelim the appointment, we get there. We sit down. If you notice right here on the front of this presentation, there's 3 things here on the front. It says referrals, earn your business, and expansion. So when I sit down, I just, I'm going to talk to them for a second, figure out their goals and their dreams and what they want out of life and how long they've worked in their careers and what they like about it, what they dislike about it, what are some of their dreams that they want to accomplish in their life. So I'm going to ask them those few things. And as I go into the presentation, I just say, hey, John and Mary, I really appreciate you sitting down with us tonight and training Joe here. Anytime we sit down and do a presentation with somebody, there's always 3 reasons why we do a training presentation. The first reason is referrals. Joe has come to work with us, and we get all of our clients through referrals. So if you like what you see, then we're going to ask for referrals. Is that fair enough? They say, yeah. He goes, the second reason is if anything you see that piques your interest or we can help your situation in any way, we'd love to earn your business as a client. And the last reason is expansion. We're expanding in the area dramatically, and we're looking for some sharp people. So you may or may not be interested, but you might know some people maybe looking to make some part-time income, a career change, or something like that. So keep your mind open to that as I go through this as well. And I'll come back to those 3 points throughout my presentation, okay? So, John and Mary, have you ever heard of Primerica before? And they'll usually say no or whatever. I say, well, we don't do any first-party advertising, so a little bit about us is we are the largest independent financial services marketing organization. Nobody's bigger than us. Most people just don't know that since we don't advertise it at all. We are listed on the New York Stock Exchange. Our ticker symbol is PRI, which we're very excited because our company went public 2 years ago, and we became one of the most successful IPOs in America in 2010. And so we're very excited about that. We've been in business since 1977. We have more than 6 million clients. And John and Mary, we've done all of this without any national TV or radio advertising. Is that incredible or what? They say, yeah. I go, I think the reason why we're growing so fast is unfortunately there's a lot of financial challenges going on in our country right now. They say that the average credit card debt amongst households with balances on their cards is $15,700, which if somebody has $10,000 in credit card and they pay the minimum payments, it takes them upwards of 30 years to pay it off. So most people are never going to be out of debt. They say U.S. foreclosure actions have shattered all records and will do so again this year, which we live in the mecca of foreclosures, there's 68 million Americans which have no life insurance. 43% of our country has less than $10,000 saved. Almost 50% of our country says they're not going to have enough money to live comfortably through retirement. And this one blew me away, John. Mary, that 8 in 10 workers report that they live paycheck to paycheck just to make ends meet. I mean, you think about this. We're in the wealthiest country on earth, and 8 in 10 people in our country are one paycheck away from losing it all. If they lose one paycheck, they lose their home, they can't pay their car payments, they can't feed their family. I mean, that is crazy to think that most people are one paycheck away from losing everything. And the reason why I believe all these things are happening up here, John and Mary, is the New York Times said our country went an entire decade with no income gains. They said the typical American household made less money last year than a typical household made a full decade ago. So, John and Mary, if you think about this for a second, the year 2000, the average household income in America was $52,000. Last year was $49,000. So let me ask you, how does the typical family in our country live the same lifestyle on less money? They go, they can't. I go, it doesn't happen, right? Which is why people have gotten a debt, aren't saving money, and are one paycheck away from losing it all. And so, John and Mary, let me ask you, how real and serious are these problems? And they always go, very real, very serious, right? And I say, you're right, they are very real and very serious. So here's the exciting thing, John and Mary. If you had a business that could solve all of these problems for the average middle-class American, I mean, really, what would you have your hands on? And what everybody always tells me is I would have a gold mine. So many people say that. So you would, right? And that's the exciting thing, John and Mary, is that we have the solutions, okay? Because here's what all those issues have caused in our country, right? If you take 100 people after working from the ages of 25 to 65, so the average person that's 65 years old today in our country has worked for about 40 years. So if you take those people right now, 100 people that are 65 years old today, 54 out of 100 of them are dependent on Social Security or welfare. So that means they worked for 40 years of their life and they didn't save enough money to feed themselves. 36% are still working and 5% are deceased. So if you do the math, John and Mary, that's 95% of our country never makes it financially. 4 are okay with $1 million, and 1 is wealthy with $5 million. Which, John and Mary, if you guys saved $100 or $200 a month from the time you were 18 to the time you were 65, and you are 65 years old today, it's $50 a week. You just save $50 a week today, you would have $5.5 million in the average American mutual fund. Is that incredible or what? I go, yep. I go, so why do 95% fail when it comes to their finances? Well, I believe number one is no financial education. See, we go to school and they teach us two things, how to get a job and write a check. But they never teach us what to do with our money once we get it. Number two is we have no financial game plan. And worst of all is we have no financial coach. All right? So our mission as a company is to help families become properly protected, debt-free, and financially independent. And I tell everybody, John and Mary, that if you woke up every day and your mission in life was to help families do those three things, that would be a very noble cause. Would you agree? And they go, yeah. I go, because other than our salvation, what are people thinking about more than those three things? Nothing, right? Yeah, yep. So our solution to all these issues is that we provide a complimentary or a free financial needs analysis. So we sit down with the family, we put together just a financial GPS. It figures out where they're at, where they want to go, and we give them a map how to get there, okay? So inside of that financial GPS, here's an actual family that we helped, okay? So obviously we changed their names, but we'll just call them Bob and Susan. They were 35, 33, they had 2 kids, all right? So before we sat down with them, they had $165,000 on their first mortgage. They were going to pay that off in 24 years. They had $13,000 on 3 credit cards, and they were going to pay that off in 58 years. So who knows when they're going to be debt-free, because that situation is assuming they don't rack up any more debt. So after we sit down with them and do a financial needs analysis, we set them up with a program called Debt Watchers and set up a fast pay plan. And I don't know, have you guys ever heard of debt stacking before? And some people go yes, some people go no. So at this point, if they have never heard of debt stacking, I'm going to go to the page in my presentation with debt stacking, and I'm going to explain it to them so I can just get the objection out of the way. Because anybody that's been on some appointments before, you know that they're going to ask, well, how the heck do you do that? So they're thinking about that the whole time if you don't answer the question before, all right? So I'll just go to the debt stacking page. I'll just show them how it works real quick. So I say, so we enrolled them in Primerica's Debt Watchers program, created a fast pay program to eliminate all the credit card debt. And by setting up that program, we saved them 4 years of mortgage payments, over $56,000 in interest. So let me ask you, John and Mary, if you save somebody 4 years of payments and 56 grand in interest, and now you get them out of debt at age 55 versus never, how are they going to feel about you? Well, they're going to love you. They are, right? So the next thing we did, actually, before I go into that next one, so I would ask them, I would say, so John and Mary, I don't know your guys' current debt situation, but if we can help you pay off the current debt that you have faster, I'm guessing that's something you'd be open to, isn't it? They go, yeah. They go, great. So the next thing we did, John and Mary, is look at their life insurance. Now, do you guys own any personal life insurance outside of work? And they go, yeah, or no, or whatever they say. So if they say yes, I say, do you know what kind it is? And I just want to know. And if they say no, I say, you ever thought about getting it? And they're going to say whatever it is, okay? And so the two reasons I do that, if they have cash value life insurance, I don't so bad that they hate me, because what if it was brother that sold it to them or something like that? And so I just want to kind of explain how it works, just like I do it the same way every time, but I just don't want to beat it up too bad. And then if they don't have it, I want to ask them, you ever thought about getting it? Because if they say yes, and at the end of the presentation, they don't let me do an F&A, or they don't want to join the business or whatever, I can always say, well, hey, you guys told me you thought about getting life insurance. Can I give you a quote or something like that? But it always gives me somewhere to go back to, all right? So I say, all right, let's say they say no, we don't, or no, we don't have any life insurance. I say, okay. So a lot of people that do have life insurance usually own what's called cash value life insurance. So we sat down with this family. Bob had $150,000. Susan had $150,000. They're paying $298 a month. Okay. Well, the problem with this is if something happens to Bob, Susan isn't even going to be able to pay off the debts with 150 grand. So why didn't they get more coverage? They couldn't afford it. So why did they buy it? Because the agent sits down with them and tells Bob that they're going to get life insurance plus a savings program. Well, what they did not tell him is that if Bob dies, Susan only gets one or the other. So John and Mary, if you paid for two things your entire life, and in the end you only get one, what do you call that? And they go, everybody says, it's stealing or a scam or whatever they say, but I let them tell me what they think that is, right? And there will be people that tell me that even if they do have cash value life insurance, right? I say that's what we believe. We believe it's legal robbery. So we just teach them to buy a term policy. We put $300,000 on Bob, $300,000 on Susan, $25,000 on the kids. We do it for $123. So now if something happens to Bob, Susan will be just fine because now she can pay off the debts. Plus she'll have $100,000 to send the kids to college, raise them, whatever she needs to do. And now we've freed up another $175 a month that she couldn't go invest elsewhere. Okay. The next thing, when we sat down with them, they had no will and no access to any legal advice. So we just set them up with a will and got them access to a respected full-service law firm for $25 a month. So now they have a lawyer. If they have any legal issues whatsoever, they got a lawyer. That way they don't have to get worried about getting sued for their nest egg they built up, right? The next thing we did is look at their auto and homeowners insurance. Now, Bob and Susan, they're paying $243 a month on their auto and homeowners insurance. So what we did is we just partnered with the top 20 or 25 largest carriers in the United States, and we just find them their niche market company. And so now we cut it down to $178. We saved them $65 a month, which is pretty exciting. I'm sure you guys would agree. And they go, yeah. I go, so we'll see if we can save you some money here in just a minute. And then the last thing we did is look at their retirement. So when we sat down with them, Bob and Susan, they had $20,000 in an IRA at the bank. It was earning 3%, which nobody's getting 3% at a bank, right? And they go, yeah, nobody. I go, they were saving $100 a month. And at the age of 67, they'll have $116,000, which they're never going to retire on $116,000, all right? And they go, yeah, never. I say, so what we do is we roll over their IRA into mutual funds, and mutual funds have averaged 9 or 10% for 30 to 70 years. The problem, John and Mary, is most people don't know where to get their hands on a good rate of return because these big investment firms have ignored middle-class America. If you have $100,000 to $200,000, they simply turn people away. So we just help them find that good rate of return. We increased our contributions to $300, right, which is this $175 we freed up here, the $65 we freed up here, and the $100 they were already saving. And now, at the age of 65, they have just over $1 million versus $116,000. Is that incredible or what? And they go, absolutely. And I go, so John and Mary, if you were in this situation, $116,000, somebody puts you in this situation to having over $1 million with the same exact amount of money out of pocket, how would you feel? And they go, I would feel incredible. And let me ask you this, John and Mary, if you were able to do that for somebody, how would you feel? They go, I feel incredible. How would they feel about you if you did that for somebody? They would love me, right? I go, okay, so let me ask you this, John and Mary. After seeing all this, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how would you rate your desire to become properly protected, debt-free, and financially independent? And John and Mary are going to say a 10. I'm going to say, okay, great. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask you some questions to see how we can help you become properly protected, debt-free, and financially independent. So the first question I have for you, John and Mary, is if you were to retire today, how much money would you need per month? And so I just go right into it. I just pull it out, and I don't ask them, can I do an F&A, or can I ask you some questions? I just say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you some questions to see how I can get you properly protected, debt-free, and financially independent. So then I ask them the first question. I say, so if you were to retire today, how much money would you need per month? So assuming the house is paid off, kids are out of the house, all that kind of stuff. Let's say they say $5,000 a month, right? Let's say they say, okay, $5,000 a month, right? And I say, what age would you like to retire? And they say 65, okay? What's your current age? 35 right now. Do you guys want to count on Social Security? No. All right. Do you guys have a 401k or an IRA? Yeah, we get a couple of IRAs. All right. What's the balance of your IRA? Well, John has $20,000 in his, and Mary just started hers, and she's got $1,000. Okay. How much are you guys contributing? John contributes $250 a month. The company doesn't match, right? And Mary contributes $100 a month to hers. Okay. So at this point, the company doesn't match. At this point right here, this $350, I'm going to put in this box right here because that's what they're contributing to IRAs right now. So I'm going to put that in that box. Okay. And I'm going to say, all right, so on the emergency fund, experts recommend that you have 3 to 6 months of living expenses set aside in case of an emergency or loss of income. How much do you guys currently have set aside in an emergency fund? And most people have like $1,000 or $2,000. So let's say they have $2,000. Oh, we got $2,000 set aside in an emergency fund. How much do you contribute to that every month? Oh, $25. Okay. They contribute. Let's say they contribute $25 a month too. Do you have a checking account? Yes. Do you have a savings account? Yes. Okay. What do you guys have in non-retirement assets? Bank accounts, CDs, mutual funds, stocks outside of that, or whatever. Let's say, oh, $8,000. Are you guys contributing to that at all on a monthly basis? No. All right, so I'll just put a 0 right there. All right, how much do you guys have in consumer debt, like credit cards, car loans, all that kind of stuff? And they go, oh, we have $5,000 in credit card debt. I go, okay, how many credit cards do you have? 2. One has $3,000, and what's the minimum payment? And so I'll just write the minimum payment under it. And they'll go, I don't know, whatever it is, $80, okay? And I'll go, all right, and on the $2,000, on the other credit card, what's the minimum payment on that one? $70, okay? Do you guys have any car loans or anything? Yeah, we have one car loan. The balance on it is $15,000. What's the payment on it? $250 a month, okay, or whatever it is. So I get that, and then I say, all right, so what's the market value of your home? And as you know, in Las Vegas, most people laugh when I ask that question, and they say, I don't know, $100,000. Okay, so I put $100,000. I say, what's the balance of your mortgage? And they'll say $200,000. Yes, most people know what's happened in Las Vegas. So I say, let me ask you this. If you could pay off your debt 5 to 10 years sooner, would that interest you? They say, of course. I say, okay. And do you guys have current life insurance coverage? And they say, no. All right. Now, if they have it, I'm just going to ask them to grab their policies. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to say, grab your policies for me, will you? But I found most people don't have life insurance. So if they do, I'll just say, grab your policies, and I'm going to go through them at the end. I'm going to finish the F&A, and I'm going to go through them at the end. Okay, I'm just going to write down what they're paying, what kind it is, and I'll go through in a minute. But so they don't have life insurance, so that way I can teach you what I say. So then here's what I do. I say, so John and Mary, you don't have any life insurance right now, but let me ask you this. What would you feel is your most valuable asset? And people start talking. They'll start saying, oh, my house or my cars or whatever it may be. And I'll say, John and Mary, that's usually what I get when I ask somebody that question. I usually get house, cars, kids, whatever it may be. And I say, that's understandable, but really what it is your income. Because, John, let me just be presumptuous for a second. Let's say you make $50,000 a year, and you're going to work for the next 20 years. That's $1 million you're going to bring into your household. So, John, you are $1 million asset to your family right now. Let me ask you, do you guys have anything in your lives worth more than $1 million? They say no. No. Your biggest asset, John, is your ability to earn that $1 million so your family can continue living the lifestyle that they currently live. That is why it's so important to protect that income with income protection. So experts recommend 8 to 10 times the amount of your income in life insurance. For example, if you earn $50,000 a year, you should have $500,000 in income protection. So when a family like yours doesn't have any life insurance outside of work or is underinsured, it's usually due to one of the following reasons. 1, they didn't understand it. 2, they didn't think they could afford it. Or 3, they never got around to it, which sounds like you. And people will say usually B or C, right? So I don't really care what they say. I say, okay, great. So the next thing is, John and Mary, what do you, what's your take-home pay, John? What do you bring home? And let's say he says $5,000 a month. All right. And Mary, what do you bring home? $2,500. Okay. Do you guys have any other monthly income, like any rental income from any rental properties, business, anything like that? I say no. Okay. Well, how much would your family need each month? So, for example, Mary, if something happened to John, how much would you need each month to continue living the same lifestyle you live today? And she'll go the same. Okay, so I'll put $5,000. And I'll ask John the same question, and he'll probably say it the same, right? So I just write the same. Okay, so 5,000 and 2,500. I'll say, John, what's your date of birth? Let's say he says it's 5, I don't know, 75. Okay. Do you use tobacco in any form, John? No. Mary, what's your date of birth? 7/5/76. Okay. Do you use tobacco in any form? No. All right. Do you guys normally receive a tax refund? And they'll say, you know, whatever it is. Yes. Okay. Most people do. How much? $3,500. Okay. We usually use it for. And most people say, oh, well, to pay off debt or a vacation or something like that, okay? So then I'm going to tell them, I'll say, John and Mary, so usually for about every $600 you get back, you can adjust your W-4s at work. Now, why? Because what's happening with this $3,500 is you're borrowing that to the government at the beginning of the year, and they're taking a loan on your money all year long and paying it back at the end of the year totally interest-free. But let me ask you, if you don't pay your taxes on time or you borrow money from the government or the IRS, do they charge you interest on it? You go, yeah. And I go, exactly. So why would you borrow them money for free? It makes no sense. So we need to adjust your W-4 so you can lower that so you can get that money back in your paycheck on a monthly basis, and you can use it either pay off debts that are accruing interest against you or invest money that will accrue interest for you, okay? They say, yeah. So I'll adjust it probably like if they were getting $3,500 back. At first I would probably adjust it by 4, right, which is $2,400. So that's $200 that we can free up right there, okay? Next thing is I say, so education for the children. Is college education important for your children? I say yes. Say, well, the average public education is about $16,000 a year, and the average private school is about $35,000 a year. Do you have a preference? Everybody says, public. I go, okay. And then I get the kids' name, their birth date. I say, how much do you have saved for college right now? Nothing. Not saving anything monthly, obviously. Do you guys currently have a will? No. If it were affordable, would you like to have one? Yes. Okay. We'll talk about that when I come back. And then auto and homeowners insurance. What are you guys paying monthly for auto insurance? And they say, I don't know, whatever it is. Let's say they say $250. I say, do me a favor. Will you guys grab your declaration pages for your auto and homeowners insurance? So they get up and they grab their declaration page. They come back and I say, would you guys be open to saving money? And they go, yeah. I go, great. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a phone call real quick, and we're going to see if we can't free up some money for you. And so I make the call right then and there. And people say, right there? I go, yeah, right there. It takes 10 minutes to do. Now, here's my suggestion on the auto and homeowners insurance. You find somebody at the center that you like, and you use them every single time. Okay, that would be my suggestion. Like, not last night. Last night was my off night, but the night before that, I saved somebody $263 a month. Save somebody $263 a month on their auto insurance. Now, let me tell you something. Closing a life sale is slam dunk when you save somebody $260 a month on their auto insurance, okay? So I go, would you be open to saving money? They say, yes. Okay, so let's say we save them $50 a month, okay? And I say, okay, so for your financial game plan, experts say we should budget 15% of our take-home pay to our financial game plan. If on a tight budget, 10%. If low overhead, 20%. Which best describes you saving 10, 15, or 20? And they say, I don't know, let's say they say 20%. I go, okay, well, 20% is, let's see, that's $1,500, so that's $1,500. I go, John and Mary, is it $1,500 an amount you could feel comfortable saving starting today? And they go, no. I go, how much of the $1,500 could you save? And they go, maybe half that, $750. I go, okay, great, $750. And then I'm going to go total all the boxes that we've had, okay? And I don't know exactly what they were if I go back at our this page, but I don't know exactly what they were. But I think it was, I know we had 350 that was going into their IRAs, and they were saving some money into an emergency fund, which I'm going to leave that alone. Plus we have this $200 here. So that gives me $550, okay, in boxes that I'm going to add up. Plus we have $50 from the savings here, actually. So that's $600 total, okay? So I put $600 plus the $750 is $1,350. Okay, so I get all that. I get all these numbers right here. All right, then what I do is I rip off this page right here, okay, which is the Theory of Decreasing Responsibility page. And I'm going to write this stuff out again right at the top so I can go back over it with them. Okay, so he makes $7,500 or whatever it was. And she made, or I think, I can't even remember.
Yeah, he makes $5,000 and she makes $2,500.
Okay, so total $7,500. $5,000, $2,500. Okay, and then they're currently budgeting. They would need the same thing: $5,000, $2,500, and then they said they wanted to save 20%, which was $1,500. They couldn't save $1,500. They said they could save half that, $750. We have $600 right here that they can budget, and that gives us a total of $1,350. So I fill all that out. Now, as I'm filling this out, I'm talking to my new recruit next to me, showing them exactly what I'm doing, because I want that new recruit to understand where am I getting these numbers, how am I figuring this. I'm not just doing it. I'm showing the new recruit, okay, John, I'm going to say, or so his name's Joe, right? So Joe, here's how I get this, right? I put John's income here, Mary's income here, and I'm going to show them this. Now I'm going to run a quote. So I'm going to run a quote, and let's say we put $500,000 on John, or he makes $60,000 a year. So I'm going to put $600,000 on John, okay? And Mary makes $30,000 a year, so I'm going to put $300,000 on Mary, and I'm going to put $25,000 on the kids. And I don't have a quote on what that would be, but let's just say it's $125 a month. and I don't know how old somebody there. He was probably 35, maybe just turning 36 this year, but 35, and she was a year younger, so she's 34. Okay, and we have $1,350 to work with, so we take $1,350 from 125. That gives us $1,225 to save, if I'm not mistaken, or $1,125. So $1,125. Plus, they had a lump sum savings of $21,000 in their IRAs, if you remember. So let's say that grows to, at the age of 65, at 10% rate of return, to $2 million, which obviously these numbers are not right, I'm just guessing. And they'll be 65 years old. Okay, so I get all this filled out. I'm showing Joe, my new recruit, exactly how I got all these numbers. Okay, so I turn it upside down to the client. I say, okay, John, let me go over these numbers I came up with you real quick. So currently, you guys, John, you bring home $5,000 a month, which is $60,000 a year. Mary, you bring home $2,500 a month, which is $30,000 a year. And a good rule of thumb on the amount of protection you need is 8 to 10 times your income and coverage. Okay. And you guys said you could save, first of all, an extra $750 a month. Is that an amount you still feel comfortable committing to? I go, yes. All right, and then the $600, let me explain to you where it came from. Now I'm going to go back to those sheets. I'm going to say, okay, we free up $50 a month on your auto and home. You're saving right now $350 a month toward your IRAs, and then also $200 a month that we freed up from adjusting your W-4s. If I add all that up, that gives me $600. Does that make sense where I get the $600 from? I go, yes. I go, the $600 plus the $750 gives me $1,350. Does that make sense, John and Mary? They go, yeah. Okay. So today, you guys are 35 and 34. You guys have young children. You've got some debt, and you got a mortgage. So loss of income would be devastating to your family. Would you agree? They go, yes. So in order to protect would be devastating, we're going to put $600,000 on you, John, $300,000 on you, Mary, $25,000 on the kids for $125. We're going to take the $125 from the $1,350. It leaves us $1,125 to invest, which I think it actually is $1,225. It leaves us $1,225 to invest. With the $21,000 you currently have saved, at the age of 65, you're going to have $2 million. So now you're in retirement, your kids are grown, you have lower debt, your mortgage is paid, and all you need is your retirement income, and you're now self-insured. So our concept, John and Mary, is to keep insurance separate from the savings. We call it buy term and invest the difference. All right? So let me ask you, just for the life insurance portion of this right here, how does that look for both coverage and monthly premium amount? Is it too high, too low, or perfect? And they say, perfect. Okay. The reason I circle this, you guys, is I don't want them looking at this total number right here. I want them just looking at that part. So I circle this with my pen. I say, so how does this look for both coverage and monthly premium amount, too high, too low, or perfect? And they say perfect. I say, so you guys are willing to budget $125 a month to probably protect your family? And they say, yep. I go, well, unfortunately, life insurance is something you can't just buy. It's something you have to qualify for medically. Have you guys ever had any challenges with your health, such as high blood pressure, heart disease, or cancer? And they go, no. I go, okay. Well, underwriting process takes about 90 days. So in order to get the qualification process started, we just need to grab some information from you. So do me a favor and grab your driver's license. They grab their driver's license, and I close it. Okay. So now I close the life app. All right. Now I got to go back to this page and go to these 4 questions down here. So this is so important that we train people to go back to these 4 questions. So now we close the life app, go back to these 4 questions. So it says right here, so let's say you get some objections, you don't overcome them, whatever it may be, they don't feel comfortable moving forward that night, they're fine with you coming back. There's no problem with that. I don't have a problem with that at all. So it says right here, if no implementation on the first visit, I say, look, if when we come back, John and Mary, we show you a program that's better for you and your family in every way, is there any reason we couldn't earn your business? And they say no. Okay. Now, here's the thing. If I don't get commitments right there, if I didn't close on the first appointment and I don't get commitments right there, I'm not coming back because I'm not going to go put together an F&A, spend all this time, teach my people to do that. I'm just not going to do it. So I'm going to get that commitment right then and there if we don't close. Now, if we did close, I just skip it. So let's say we closed. I'm going to ask the question number 2. I'm going to say, John and Mary, because we don't advertise, we ask that you recommend 8 to 10 people exactly like yourself who ought to hear about our program. And, of course, they make up their own minds. Fair enough? Okay. The third thing, John and Mary, is we also like to invite you to visit and attend one of our orientations at our office to learn more about our financial concept, as well as our income opportunities. Let me ask you, is there anything you can't get out of on Thursday night at about 7:30 for about an hour? And they go, no. And I go, great. Since there's nothing you can't get out of, I need you to be at my office at 7:30. I'm going to have a seat saved for you and your name on a list, so can you promise me you'll be there? They say, yes. I go, okay, great. So put that in your calendar, Thursday at 7:30, whenever your meeting is. Okay, that's when we do ours. And the last question is, John and Mary, if you could potentially earn $1,000 to $3,000 a month part-time, would that interest you? And they say yes. I'm going to go, okay, great. Well, let me show you how we get paid. And so now I'm going to go into the compensation. So now you just closed. So I want you to think about it. You just closed, so they think everybody does business, which is true because most people do if you're in the right market. So I'm going to say, all right, so let me show you how we get paid. So John and Mary, we teach people to start part-time with our company. Why? Because we want people to come here, learn it at their own pace while their bills are paid at their job, and there's no pressure, okay? So let's say you sat down and you showed that A and B example to 10 families. How many out of 10 are going to switch from A to B? They're going to say all 10. I say, you're right. Now, all 10 should, but all 10 don't. It's probably 7 or 8 out of 10 do. Well, let's say you're starting part-time, and you show that presentation to 10 families, and you just do business with 5. And not 5 in all areas, but 5 in one area and 1 or 2 or 3 in the other areas, okay? When you help those 5 clients all month, the company pays you $4,800. Isn't that incredible, John and Mary? That's about $1,000 a client. So if you made $1,000 a client, how many clients would you help in a month? And they go, as many as I could. And that's what I want them thinking. I say, even if you just did half of that, you're still looking at $2,600 a month. I say, so let me ask you, if you guys could potentially earn $20,000 to $40,000 a year part-time without jeopardizing your job, would that interest you? And they say, yeah. So I'll be honest with you guys, I don't show these next 2 slides unless somebody's making probably $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 a year. So if they are making $70,000, $80,000, $90,000, then I will go through these slides. But if not, I just skip them and go straight to the last page, which I'll show you here in a second. But let's say they are. Let's say you're sitting out with a guy who's sharp. He's making $75,000, $80,000 a year. I'm going to say, okay, so at that point, let me ask you, John and Mary, you ever thought about owning your own business before? And they go, yeah. I go, what was the one thing that stopped you? They go, money. I go, I agree. That's what stopped me before this business as well. I say, so let me explain to you kind of the way our business gets paid, and I'm going to relate it to real estate because I'm pretty sure you guys understand how the real estate business works. But let's say you decide to go into real estate, and you become a broker. Now, anytime a broker sells a home, he gets a 6% fee. So he sells a $100,000 home. He makes $6,000 to sell that home. Now, does the broker usually sell the home, or does an agent usually sell the home? The agent does, right? So the way it works is a broker hires an agent and does what's called a 50-50 split. So Sally, the agent, sells the house. She gets $3,000. Bob, the broker, right, gets $3,000 the house or for selling that house. But he didn't sell it, Sally did, right? And they go, yep. I go, so if Bob the broker wants to make more money, what does he do? He hires and trains another agent, okay? So a broker with 5 agents making $3,000 each time they sell a house is making $15,000 a month, okay? Now, there's only one problem with being an agent, okay? The first one is limited income potential because there's only so many hours in a day, only so many homes to be sold. She has no security because if she gets sick, the market drops, whatever it may be, she's out of work or can't make an income. And the last one is no time freedom, which means if she's eating dinner at night with her family but a client wants to see a home, in order for her to get paid, she has to go show the home, right? But the broker has an unlimited income potential. Why? Because if he wants to make $20,000 a month, what does he do? Hires a couple more agents. He has more security because if Sally doesn't sell a home, this guy probably sells 2. And he's got time freedom because whether or not Bob the broker showed up, these agents are still going to sell homes. So he has a ton of freedom. So let me ask you, John and Mary, would you rather be an agent or a broker? And they go, a broker. I go, okay. So let's say you wanted to be a broker. A regional leader is what we call basically a broker in training, okay? So let's say you're still helping 5 clients a month. all right, and you train 2 agents, because a broker without an agent is a what? An agent. So you got to train a couple agents if you're going to become a broker and open up your own office. So let's say you hire and train 2 agents, and they help 6 clients total, so 3 each. Yeah, you build a little business, helps 11 clients a month. The company would pay you $8,500 a month. So now, John and Mary, once you started making $50,000 to $80,000 a year in income, would you consider making a career change? You go, yep. You go, so let's say you become a regional vice president or a broker, okay? And the average office in our company is going to help about 30 clients a month as a regional vice president. Now, do some do more, some do less? Of course. Okay, but let's say you built that office. It helps 30 clients in a month. The company would pay you $36,000 a month. Now, is that incredible or what? Now, John and Mary, you guys could hit all your goals and dreams on that kind of income. Would I be right in assuming that? You know, yep. So it all sounds great, but let me show you our track record, because we have a phenomenal track record of success. But more importantly, John and Mary, we have incredible momentum with our company. See, right now, since 1977, we produced 5,500 people that make between $50,000 and $100,000 a year. But just since the year 2000, we've produced almost 3,000 of the 5,500. So we've produced more in the last 10 years than the prior 25 years of being a business, which says we have a lot of momentum. But the most exciting number on this page, John and Mary, is we have 2,600 people that make between $100,000 and $1 million a year. That's more than any other company in the world of people who make a 6-figure income. But we've produced 1,500 of the 2,600 in the last 10 years. Again, more in the last 10 than the prior 25 years combined, okay? So at this point, you guys, what I do is I just show them my track record. So I would suggest that you get a track record like for the first few years. I show them Brandon Neal's first 2 years, which I showed everybody till I was making about $250,000 a year. But I just show them Brandon Neal's first 2 years and my first 2 years in the business. Brandon made $20,000 his first year, $104,000 his second. I made $14,000 my first year, $114,000 my second. So I show them the track records. And after I show them the track records, I say, so let me ask you guys this. What would interest you more, starting your own part-time business, a complementary financial game plan, or both? And they say both. I go, okay, great. Let me show you what it takes to get started. Well, in our industry, you got to get licensed. It's not cheap to do, but fortunately for you, our company pays for all the licensing process, okay? So the way it works is you're getting started with our company. You have to submit what's called an independent business application with $99. Now, there's quite a few things our company is going to pay for, okay? We pay for the state licensing fee and an exam fee, a fingerprint and background check, which is about $120 in the state of Nevada, which we use the $99 to kind of subsidize that up front so we make sure we're not hiring felons. And then there's a pre-licensing school, which is also required by the state of Nevada. And so it's about $400 on average to get licensed, $650 in our state. It's about $400 on average. So we're going to pay $400 to get you licensed. Is there an issue if we pay $400 with you investing the $99 up front? They go, nope. I go, okay, great. Now the way it works is once you guys complete licensing school, you help your first client your first 30 days in training. The company's going to give you your $99 back, so there's no financial risk to you, okay? They go, okay. Say there's some great tools. So after that, the only thing required of you is work, but there are some great tools. You pay $25 a month for Primerica Online. It's going to give you a cell phone discount. Give you your own website. It allows you to run all the business reports, give you all the live and on-demand video training you could ever need. They'll also pay for your investment license at that point and give you Morningstar, which is like, if you know what MLS is in real estate, that's kind of like the MLS for the investment business, okay? But that's an incredible value, $6,000 a year worth of value for $25 bucks. The next thing they do is to get off to a fast start, we're going to give you $1,000 worth of bonus money to get trained, promoted, and licensed, okay? I tell everybody, you know what I got for getting trained? Just getting trained. So you're going to get $1,000 bucks, and we're going to get you that for getting trained our first 30 days in the business, okay? So John and Mary, there's 4 keys to success as you come into our business. The first one is submit your independent business application with $99 bucks, which I'm guessing that's something you can do today, right? And I go, yep. I go, the next thing is to show up to all training meetings. Now, our trainings are Thursday nights and Saturday mornings. So is that something you can do, or at least rearrange your schedule in the future to be able to do? And they say, yep. I go, okay, great. The next thing is attend pre-licensing school so you can go get your license, which we'll register you for class today, so we'll get you a time where you can make that work. The next thing is go on 10 to 15 training appointments so we can get you licensed or so we get you trained your first 30 days in the business. But I'm guessing that's something you can do no problem, right? They go, yep. I go, and the last thing is complete a financial needs analysis, which we've already started. We'll finish that up. We'll set up a time to come back and get that done, okay? So John and Mary, I'm guessing there'd be nothing that would keep you from getting started tonight, right? They go, no. I go, okay, great. Do me a favor and grab your driver's license. And I just get their IDA. Now, once I get their IDA, I think it's important to know that here's what I do. So let's say I'm on a 6 o'clock appointment. Okay, and I just went through, and the appointment goes perfectly. I close the life app, I go in, I'm recruiting them across the kitchen table, all that kind of stuff. And now, I mean, it took me 50 minutes to do this, but let's say you added 20 minutes in for the life app, another 15 minutes for the auto and home quote, all that kind of stuff. And so let's say I've been there for an hour and a half. Okay, and so now it's getting close. I got an 8 o'clock, it's 30 minutes away. But I've got this new recruit right here that's ready to get going. They got a warm market, or I've got an 8 o'clock that I could go, and it could dark house me, whatever. So here's what I do, okay? If the appointment goes perfectly, I always have people that I know that aren't on kitchen tables at night. So I'll send them a text and say, hey, I need you to be on the spot. I'm going to ask them, hey, what do you have going on? Do you have any appointments tonight? Can you cover? Because they'll say, yes, I have appointments or whatever, because they don't want to feel like, whatever. So I'm going to tell them, hey, I need you to cover an appointment for me at 8 o'clock. I'm going to stay there, and I'm doing their fast start. And I'm not leaving until I get 4 or 5 or 6 kitchen tables set with that new recruit. So I'm going to turn this one kitchen table appointment into 4 or 5 kitchen tables. If, for example, this happened to Kelsey and I the other day. We went and sat down with a guy. We recruited him, all that kind of stuff. It took us a while. But we turned that into enough appointments. Within 2 days, I had 3 recruits underneath them. So we turned 1 recruit into 4 recruits in 2 days because, and I had another appointment, but I had somebody else cover it. But last night, I had on that little team that started on Tuesday, last night was Thursday, I had more guests than any other team in my base shop from that little team that I recruited a guy on Tuesday. I had more guests than any other team in my base shop last night. So if that just tells you, so if that flies in the face with whatever Cheryl's telling you, I don't think it does, but I'm just telling you, when you have a new recruit, I think it's important to make sure you do a good job when they give you that $99. You don't just leave the house.
Jeff, I would agree 100% with what you're saying, and the only way to collapse time frames is to go on ahead and call a shot and do something like that. And I don't think that we have to think, boy, that is really the exception, that you would get somebody on board and within 2 or 3 days have 3 people underneath them and have those people attending the meeting. If you want to go on ahead and get momentum, that's exactly what you do.
Exactly. And the only reason I say that, Cheryl, is because I notice a lot of people is that they do this and then they get to the end and they might be on a 6 o'clock and they get to an 8 o'clock and they're worried about getting to their 8 o'clock and they just got an IDA. They just got a brand new recruit who just gave them a check for a life app, just gave them a check for an IDA. They're excited, they're fired up, and then they leave. So I'm like, don't leave. That person is excited, they're ready to go, they committed to you. So turn that appointment into 5 or 6 more appointments and get them in the field tonight or tomorrow night or as soon as possible and get some recruits underneath them.
Agree 100%.
All right, awesome. So that's it. I think once you're done, you do the fast start and you're ready to rock and roll. That's the whole presentation. So I don't know if you have any questions for me, but that's what I got.
I think it's outstanding, and I want to just tell everybody, you can go, I went and watched the video, Jeff. You can go to POL and just go to the top tab at the left there, POL Home, go to the Download Center, and you can download the Success System and watch Jeff go through this in video through the recruiting. What I wanted, and why I asked Jeff to do this morning, was I wanted him to go through how he presents, right, and then how he transitions into the F&A page to close the Life app. Wanted him to show you how to close the Life app, and then the recruit, which I'm very excited, he's done a great job on, and obviously would take you a little bit longer because you're going to have dialogue if people have questions and all, but pretty much you want to keep it on track. If somebody asks you a question, you don't want to give them like a 3-chapter answer. You want to give them a very short answer and get back on track. Jeff, how long does it usually take for you to do the process that you've just shown?
About if I'm closing auto and home, a life app, and an IBA, and I'm pretty good at keeping. I've had a lot of experience, so I'm pretty good at keeping the appointment on track. So it usually takes about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes if I do everything.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I would think. And then talk to us about how you handle the auto and home.
So on the auto and home, what I do is when, for example, I'll go back to this page real quick. So when I'm on the F&A input and I come to the auto and home section, I ask them first. I say, so what are you paying monthly for your auto and home? And they tell me. And I say, hey, do me a favor and grab your guys' auto and home insurance declaration pages. So, you know, the wife usually gets up and goes grabs the declaration pages and brings them back. And I just say, would you guys be open and saving money? And they go, yep. So I call the number. So the number's right here on the F&A input. And I call the number. Now, I use the same guy every single time. So what I usually do is on my way to an appointment, I'll text my guy and say, hey, I'm on my way to an appointment. I'll probably be giving you a call here in about 45 minutes. So expect my call. And so I use the same guy every time. Now, the reason I've used the same guy every time, just to tell you guys the trick, is when you call the center, they always want to talk to the client. But if you use the same person every time and they know you, he already knows my solution number, and he'll let me get the quote for the client if the client's sitting next to me. Okay? So that way I can call and I can go, hey, man, what's up? This is Jeff. Hey, I just need a quote real quick. And it takes literally like 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the most. But he knows. So, like, when I get the quote, I tell John and Mary, I say, John and Mary, now look, like this couple that we closed saved them $263 a month. We didn't move forward that night. Now, here's why. A couple of reasons. One is I don't want to take more time out of their evening because I want to get into recruiting them. But two is I don't want them to have $500 in their account and they take $250 or $270 or whatever it was for their auto insurance out, and then now they go, oh, well, I don't have the money to protect my family for the life app. So I don't want to do that. So I don't move forward on it tonight. I just know how much money do we have freed up. So I make the call, figure out how much money we save. I figure it out. I tell John and Mary, okay, it's with this one was with Safeco. Their premium freed up $263 a month. This is where we're going to save you. Same coverage. We actually added medical on their policy to have medical. And so I said, all right, so here's what we're going to do. So I just tell them, and then I just move on. So that's the way I do it. And then I give them the information when I leave, and I say, okay, so that 263, you guys need to call back tomorrow, and then, you know, the agent is going to walk you through the process of exactly how to get started. It's very easy, and it'll take about 20 minutes. So just call back tomorrow when you have 20 minutes to do that, and they're going to free up that $260 a month for you.
Okay, very good. And then on the when you purchase this flip chart, folks, now let me tell you something. If your RVP says we're not doing that presentation, don't do that presentation, it's okay. Even watching this, you got some great questions, some great tie-downs, stuff like that. You should do what your RVP says, okay? But the reason that we went to this, you know, and our key people in the base shop, we had a discussion and decided that we just didn't want to have to try to, you know, print out our own presentations or do this and that, whatever. We just wanted to just submit to a very, to I think, an outstanding success system. So you can order a laminated flip chart from the company store. Right now it's going to have two presentations. The one that Jeff went over this morning is the one that I want in our base shop. I want that to be used because it's short enough. The purpose when we go into a kitchen table, the purpose is to get that person recruited. We're there to recruit them, right, to show them a simple process, to show them something that they think, oh, I can do that. There's magic when that happens, right, and we want to go through that. And then we're going to educate them when we come back with the F&A, which, by the way, when you do this, folks, if you don't go on ahead and fill out the complete F&A and do that for them, you're nothing more than an insurance salesperson, right? If you don't go on ahead and get your securities license and you can't do the buy term and invest the difference or use that indexed annuity, then you're just one of the insurance guys. You know, you want to do the whole thing. You want to have a multi-product using client base, okay? So in this flip chart, though, there are two sides of it. The side Jeff went through is the shorter of the two presentations, the one that we want you to use. But what he said was if they don't understand debt stacking, then I'm going to show them the page on debt stacking. right? So in that flip chart, you can go to the other side, just know where it is, and pull in and just show them quickly the debt stacking concept. Jeff, let me ask you something. If they do have whole life insurance, do you go through the whole life page on that other flip chart, or you just go on ahead and show them the savings and move forward?
Yep, if they do have whole life, yeah, no, I don't go and show them that page. I just say, okay, great. I just kind of want to know, so that way I can know what to expect once I get in the FNA.
Yeah. Okay, because what we don't want, to me, the other flip chart is really just a great flip chart, but it's more to me like kind of a mini opportunity meeting that would take too long. It's a little too product oriented, I believe. What we want to do is show concepts and how to improve their situation, and again, when you come back, you can do the educations. The other thing I want to mention is that the debt questions that are on the FNA input sheet right now are probably, in the next revision, are probably going to be moved after the life insurance questions, and there's going to be a little bit more bulk in there as we go on ahead and complete our pilot with FFN and move toward the subscription product. There's going to be just a little bit more in debt there, but I liked what Jeff did, where he went on ahead and got some detail, even though there isn't space in there right now. You know, I think it's good to go on ahead and get that gathered. Find out. You just don't want it to bog down. I think that the most important thing is to just keep it moving, right? So that you create momentum. If you explain too much, if you detail it out too much, if you go too slow, that's when you start drawing objections. I don't want you to machine gun through it. You saw Jeff's cadence where but he kept it moving. If they ask you a question, you don't have to give them the half-an-hour class that you had on, that section in the thing. They really just want a short answer, and that way you can keep it moving. Jeff, would you agree on that?
100%. That's why I've always liked a shorter presentation, is not necessarily for myself, but for my people to understand. They don't have to explain everything they've ever learned for the client to agree with them, so definitely.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that really, that God knows that there's parts of this business that are tough, and I'm not going to apologize for the toughness. I love the toughness of the business. I think it separates out the pansies, quite honestly, because this isn't built for everybody to earn a 6- and 7-figure income. It's built for the people who want to be somebody. They're willing to pay a price. They know they've got to separate themselves. It's Memorial Day weekend's coming up, right? The people who want to separate themselves, they've already got their Memorial Day plan in place. They've got their team mobilized. They're going to do something to make sure that they're not just, all companies advertise and run all kind of sales and put up balloons and the whole thing. Average employees who really never do anything special with their life try to figure out how they can go sit in the dirt and camp or something, and nothing wrong with that. I grew up camping, but I'm just telling you, as a business owner, you got to think about these kind of things. You got to mobilize, and then you've got to, the main focus, I believe, that will ensure that you can have a big substantial business, be free and independent, and show other people how to do that, is just to focus on 8 to 10 kitchen tables a week. You focus on 8 to 10 kitchen tables a week, and you are going to get results. There's nobody the presentation's simple enough, and nobody's bad enough at this, that if you are on 8 to 10 qualified, you can't be sitting with 19-year-olds, at their parents' house on the back porch, qualified kitchen table appointments, then you're going to win. It's going to work out for you. People, you don't have to have millions of people to be able to earn, $300,000 and $400,000 and $500,000, $600,000 a year. Jeff, would you agree on that?
100%. I definitely agree. And we were talking before, that I was telling my team last night, I'm reading this book called How Good Do You Want to Be by Nick Saban, which actually I got recruited to by Bill Little about 3 years ago, and I've read it now a few times, but I'm reading it again, and he just talks about what it takes to be a champion, and so I was telling my team last night that, look, if you want to be a champion, if you want to do the things that champions do, and you want to win, you got to understand that professionals, people that make big money, people that win big, are the people that perform on nights, weekends, and holidays. I mean, they don't play the Super Bowl on a Monday afternoon at 2 o'clock. Why? Because too many middle-class people are at work. And so they can't maximize the event because all those people are at work. So anytime that, you don't shut down your business during the most profitable times. You know, we live in Las Vegas, and in Memorial Day weekend, you talk about sales. I'm telling you, it is crazy. I live just off of the Strip, and it is one of the busiest days of the year is Memorial Day weekend. And everybody, every club has a promotion, every store has a sale, every restaurant has a promotion. Everywhere you go, they're trying to attract more people because they understand that when you perform for middle-class people, when you set it up, then when middle-class people have work off, that is when you make the majority of your profits. And so you're right. If you own a business and you understand that most people have the day off, most people aren't working, then that gives you the opportunity to go out and get in front of more people, not less people, but you do get in front of less people if you want to join the crowd and do what other middle-class people are doing. But just understand if you do what they're doing, you're going to end up with what they've got, which is on average making $25,000 a year, too much debt, not enough money saved, never going to make it. Or you can do what the wealthy do, and eventually you'll get what they get, which is enough money saved, options, freedom, debt-free, live a great life. And once you get wealthy, then you can take all the vacations you want on Memorial Day weekend. So that's my thoughts, and I'm excited about it. I know we're going to have a big weekend.
You know, and also, Jeff, to do something special with your life. You know, I had dinner with my mom last night. She just turned 92. You know, when I'm my mother's age, I want to look back on my life and say I made a difference. I was part of a great movement. I was there in 2012, 13, 14 through 2020. I was part of the company that literally changed the landscape and reversed the tables of the little guy just happened to take it, you know, but I was part of the movement that gave the average family a voice and helped them regain their dignity. You know, I think we're in probably the most important time ever in the history of our country and our company, and I want to challenge everybody who's on here this morning to make sure, you know, that you study this and that you go over this and that you practice and drill and rehearse and be willing to make some mistakes and improve every day, right? Because a lot of people are counting on you. Jeff, I'm so proud of you and everything that you do. I'm so excited about our future, and I just look forward to years and years of friendship with you and Kelsey, and we look forward to seeing you at our builder school too.
Yes, we'll be there soon. We're excited to come out.
It's going to have a lot of fun. Thanks a lot, Jeff.
All right. Thank you so much, Cheryl. You guys have a great day.
Okay. Bye-bye.